Hi children, we continue with the fifth chapter, coal and petroleum. In the previous class we saw the differences between exhaustible and inexhaustible natural resources. And coal, petroleum and natural gas, these are exhaustible natural resources. They are also known as fossil fuels. Our chapter is about these fossil fuels, coal, petroleum and natural gas. So let's start with coal. So coal is a fossil fuel. What do you mean by a fossil fuel? A fuel which is obtained from the dead remains of living organism. Fossils are dead remains of living organism. Coal is obtained from the fossil, so it is known as a fossil fuel. This coal is a hard, these are the properties of coal. Coal is a hard black substance. It contains mainly carbon. Coal contains mainly carbon. When heated in air, since coal contains mainly carbon, when it is heated in air, what happens? In the previous chapter, metals and non-metals, we have learned carbon is a non-metal. What happens when it is heated in air? It will burn in oxygen and it will change into oxide. So when heated in air, it produces mainly carbon dioxide gas, burns in oxygen and produces mainly carbon dioxide gas. Okay, so coal is a hard black substance. It contains mainly carbon, the non-metal carbon. So when it is heated in air, it burns in oxygen and it produces mainly carbon dioxide gas. Earlier, coal was used in railway engines. I hope it is you know this, and we call that engine as steam engine. Earlier, coal was used in railway engines to produce steam that is used to run the engine. So it is called steam engine. Okay, so earlier coal was used in railway engines to produce steam that is used to run the engine. Now the next is a very important topic, origin of coal. Origin or formation. How is coal formed in nature? Origin or formation of coal. In your textbook it is given as story of coal. Okay. So you have to learn it. It's an important question. How is coal originated in nature, or explain the process of formation of coal. Okay, so as we know, coal is a fossil fuel. It is obtained from the dead remains of living organisms. So we will see what the process is. About 300 million years ago, there were dense forests in the low-lying wetland areas. About 300 million years ago, the earth had dense forests in the low-lying wetland areas. Due to natural processes, natural calamities like flooding, these forests got buried under the soil. Due to natural calamities like flood, these forests got buried under the soil. More and more soil got deposited as time passed. More and more soil got deposited over these dead forests, and what happened? They were compressed. So more soil deposited over them, they were compressed, and what happens? They sank deeper and deeper. They sank deeper and deeper. Then the temperature also increases. Under high temperature and pressure, these dead vegetation, these dead plants got converted to coal. So this is how coal is originated in nature. About 300 million years ago, the earth had dense forests in the low-lying wetland areas. Due to natural processes like flooding, these forests got buried under the soil. As more and more soil got deposited over these dead forests, they sank deeper and deeper. They were compressed and temperature also rose. So under high temperature and high pressure, this dead vegetation, these dead plants were converted to coal. The slow process of conversion of this dead vegetation into coal is known as, this process is known as carbonization. The slow process of conversion of dead vegetation into coal is known as carbonization. Can you tell me the reason why this process is known as carbonization? Because coal contains mainly carbon. Because coal contains mainly carbon. So, the process of formation of coal from dead vegetation, the slow process of conversion of dead vegetation into coal is known as carbonization, because coal contains mainly carbon. This is a very slow process. It takes millions of years. Please don't write 100 years back or a few years back. 300 million years. So, it's very slow process. Okay. So, it's very important. Explain how coal is originated or formed in nature. Okay. Now, the uses of coal. Uses of coal. Coal is one of the fuels used to cook food. Coal is one of the fuels used to cook food. Then it is used in thermal power plants. Used in thermal power plants to produce. It is used in thermal power plants to produce electricity. Then it is used as a fuel in many industries. It is used as a fuel in many industries. So, these are the three uses of coal. It is one of the fuels used to cook food. It is used in thermal power plants to produce electricity. It is used as a fuel in many industries. Next is a process known as, this term as such is not given in a textbook, but you have to learn it. Destructive distillation of coal. Destructive distillation of coal. Destructive distillation of coal. This process, name of the process is not given in a textbook, but this process is given, name is not given, but you have to learn it. This is a process in which coal is heated. Coal is heated to a very high, the process in which coal is heated to a very high temperature in the absence of air. So, very important, this is a process in which coal is heated to a very high temperature in the absence of air. We call the process as destructive distillation of coal. This process is carried out to produce certain useful, coal contains certain useful chemical substances, useful substances. In order to produce or convert coal into those useful substances, it is subjected to destructive distillation, where it is heated to a very high temperature in the absence of air. And the products obtained as a result of destructive distillation of coal are coke, coal tar and coal gas. So, what is destructive distillation of coal and what are the products obtained as a result of this process? So, why is this done? To produce certain useful items, useful chemical substances, useful substances from coal. It is subjected to a process known as destructive distillation. It is nothing but heating coal to a very high temperature in the absence of air. The products obtained as a result of destructive distillation are coke, coal tar and coal gas. Now, we have to learn about each of these substances individually. First one is coke. Coke is a tough, porous. Porous means with holes or pores. Coke is a tough, porous and black substance. It is almost purest form of carbon. It is almost pure form of carbon. Now, next the uses. So, these are the properties of characteristics of coke. It is a tough, porous, black substance. It is the purest form of carbon. Now, uses are, it is used in the manufacture. Coke is used in the manufacture of steel. Then, in the extraction of many metals. So, it is very important. What are the characteristics and uses of coke? Coke is a tough, porous, black substance. It is the purest form of carbon. Then it is used in the manufacture of steel and in the extraction of many metals. It is very important. Please mark it and learn it. What are the characteristics? Tough, porous, black substance, purest form of carbon. Uses are in the manufacture of steel and in the extraction of many metals. So, what is our next product? Coal tar. This coal tar may be familiar to you. Earlier, it was used for the surfacing of road. Once the road repair work is going on, there is a thick black liquid which is used for surfacing it. That was coal tar. Nowadays, instead of this coal tar, a petroleum product called bitumen is used for the surfacing of roads. Okay. So, earlier coal tar was used for the surfacing of road. We simply call it as tar, and the process also we call as tarring of road. So, the thick black colored liquid which is used for the surfacing, final finishing of the road, that is known as coal tar. But nowadays, instead of coal tar, a petroleum product called bitumen is used for the surfacing of roads. Now, coal tar is a thick black colored liquid with an unpleasant smell. It is a thick black liquid with an unpleasant smell, and it is a mixture of 200 other substances. It is a mixture of 200 other substances. So, we can extract or we can convert coal tar into these 200 useful chemical substances. So, this is one of the most useful products of coal, products obtained by the destructive distillation of coal. So, coal tar is a thick black liquid with an unpleasant smell. It is a mixture of over 200 other chemical substances. The products obtained from coal tar, these 200 products which are obtained from coal tar are used for manufacturing many useful substances used in our everyday life and in industries. So, products obtained from coal tar, these 200 other chemical substances which are produced from coal tar is used for manufacturing various substances, starting materials for the manufacture of various substances used in our everyday life and in industries like synthetic dyes, drugs, explosives, plastics, paints, roofing materials, etc. So many substances it is used for the manufacture of so many useful substances. Okay, so it is a mixture of 200 useful chemical substances which are used as a starting material for the manufacture of many substances in our everyday life and in industries. All these are examples like synthetic dyes, drugs, paints, explosives, roofing materials, etc. Then naphthalene balls. You all might have seen these naphthalene balls, but the name may not be familiar to you. Naphthalene balls, we call it as mothball, pataguliga, a white colored ball like thing with a smell. So, naphthalene balls are obtained from coal tar. Naphthalene balls are white in color. It is obtained from this black colored coal tar. Naphthalene balls are also obtained from coal tar. Please keep in mind the chemical from which naphthalene balls are obtained. It is obtained from coal tar. Coal tar is in turn obtained from coal. Okay. Now, the next one is, the third product is coal gas. So, coal gas is obtained during the processing of coal to obtain coke. During the conversion of coal to coke, we get coal gas, and it is used as a fuel in many industries located near coal processing plants. Okay, it is used, main use is as a fuel in the industries which are situated near coal processing plants. Okay, so what is destructive distillation? The process of heating coal to a very high temperature in the absence of air as a result of destructive distillation, we get three important products: coke, coal tar and coal gas. You have to learn about each of these individually. Okay. So, I hope it is clear to you. Thank you, children.